Welcome to our third podcast for Ireland's Home Interiors and Living magazine. Today we're delighted to welcome Irene McGeehan from Hummingbirds Design.
Thank you, I'm delighted.
In our January issue, we feature a home that is very close to your heart.
Yes.
It's a beautiful Des Ewing design, a Georgian property in Dunadry, County Antrim, where you were responsible for furniture design, room planning, layout, and some really smart and stunning storage solutions. So could you tell us a little bit about how the project came about?
The clients actually had got in touch. She likes symmetry. Everything had to be spot on. So I was in there basically before the architect had locked in plans to make sure everything worked okay for them, and we basically started at the very beginning. I wanted something very simple and stylish, neutral tones, and very much for family life. So whenever we start, we basically start it at back door or front door as they would use it. And I always say whenever you walk into a house, the first room basically sets the tone for the rest of the house. So into the back hall, which leads into the boot room and the laundry room.
Is it important to have, for you in your role, to have that cohesive look throughout the entire home?
Not necessarily. A lot will depend on the client. And you have to remember, this is somebody's home. They're going to live in it, so you have to find out a wee bit about them, how they work as a family, how many members of the family, how old they are. Again, if it's a young family, you have to bear in mind, this has to do them for another 20 years whenever, their kids are going to become teenagers and young adults. So it all has to work. You have to think long term. You have to see the big plan.
There are 25 rooms, is that right, in total in this home?
Yes, but I didn't design 25 of them. Some rooms are still to be finished. I'd say furniture-wise, I'd probably design 12 plus rooms. You can overdo it. Like some people, I know clients in the past who have maybe done a whole house and they've done too much, whereas it's nice to actually sit back and enjoy it and then go on to maybe a phase two.
And to understand where things need change, live in it for a bit first.
Live in it,
yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of thoughtful furniture placements and custom solutions that you're responsible for in this home. When you start designing a room, what factors do you take into consideration when you look at it? Say it's a square box. What is your thought process?
Proportions. Square box isn't just a square box because you have your seating proportions, you have architectural details in the house. Every house is a different style. This one here was a lovely, beautiful Georgian property with lovely architectural details, ceiling cornices. So you have to bear in mind what the room's like and the proportions. You can have a small room with high ceilings, so that'll take bigger furniture because your space is bigger. You have to think who's going to use the place, what the family's going to use it for, how they're going to use it, because you can design a room to make it look pretty, but it doesn't necessarily function as a room.
I wanted to talk about that kitchen, that open plan space. I mean, it's absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it's lovely.
And I know you put in really clever storage solutions. Some you can see, some you don't see. They're hidden. Can you talk us through those and how they all came about?
Yes, well, it's a lovely big open plan kitchen, come dining area, come living area. Again, the hub of the home, basically the centre of everything. They have a young family, so they wanted to use this space more than anything else. And, their brief was quite simple. They wanted an aga with another cooker, sink unit, just the standard dishwasher, bin, a tall fridge, but preferably hidden. Didn't like to see appliances out. So basically you start the design process. I always start with the cooker because that's basically one of the biggest appliances. Quite simple in this case because Des had basically already drawn it out. So the cooker went between, centrally between a couple of the doors. The sink area is over to the right hand side. To the right hand side of the fridge and freezer there is a breakfast pantry. So they want it, again, it's a unit that's continually used, so they wanted it to look pretty. So we have pocket doors so that the doors can be open all the time, and then in behind lots of storage. The microwave is hidden in there, and we put an upstand in our splashback with painted base units, so it actually looks like a nice cabinet whenever it's opened up. Client is dressed up really, really nicely. There's baskets in there, wine glasses in there. Yeah, it's one of those entertaining spaces. Toaster and coffee makers in there too. The other thing that they wanted, which is very hard to hide, is an under oven. So because the cooker is the focal point, to put another oven beside the Aga just wouldn't look nice at all. So we have it sort of hidden around the side of the island. So as you walk in, you can just about see it, but whenever you're actually in the dining area and the living area, it's hidden completely. But it means that the oven's there for summertime whenever the Aga's off.
When you think of this home and all the work you put into it, is there a favourite element you have? Is there something you're particularly proud of?
Probably the pantry and the utility, the laundry rooms. They're very close call, but the pantry especially is directly off the kitchen. So it's a nice pocket door walking in there, and it's a nice moody green. It's actually Farrow Ball Trerin, so it's a beautiful colour of green, and whenever the light hits it, it's just a really nice space. And then we have carried that colour out through into the kitchen island. It's huge. And there's no cooking on it, there's no sink on it, it's just a great big massive space. And I've walked in there and seen the kids sitting on it, painting, drawing, so it's very much used. The laundry room it's something else. It's just very pretty. It's just a pity it's in behind a door, so whenever you walk up into the house, you're actually walking past it, but it'll never be untidy.
I wanted to tap into your expertise and ask you some general questions just about room layout and design. When you look at other interiors, are there common mistakes that people make with the layout of specific rooms or just their home as a whole?
Probably the most common mistake is not utilising the space properly, maybe not listening to what the client needs or not understanding what the client needs. Sometimes the client doesn't understand themselves what they need to use for family life. Using cabinets or furniture that's too big for the space or too small for the space, and not thinking about where the light's coming in.
We see a lot, I know I keep mentioning storage solutions, and there is so much storage in this home. Have you any tips for people that maybe don't have that amount of space for storage, how they can put storage into their homes without detracting from the overall look?
Sometimes people think storage needs to be big storage. For instance, wardrobes need to be 600 deep, whereas a lot of people can have narrower cabinets, shallower cabinets, and have as much storage in them. Wardrobes especially only need to be 400 millimetres, maybe 450 deep for folded clothes, even for drawers. In a living room scenario, whenever it's books, you only need maybe 300 millimetres space. Just, it doesn't have to be big and bulky. If you don't want to see the storage, you can hide it in behind panels. I do that quite often, where it maybe looks like a wall panelling, whereas you have secret storage in there.
Okay.
Underneath the stairs in a house, you can panel that out and have secret storage in there, or actually just embrace it and have nice panelled doors.
And as this home features in our January 2025 edition, I wanted to ask if you foresee any trends this year in room layout, or are you seeing any emerging trends that you think are really going to take off?
A very big one at the minute is probably feature splashbacks. And rather than the mirrors and the tiles have all done their day, it's probably feature stone. And people are becoming a lot braver in the stone that you're using, whether it's stone or whether it's quartzite or marble or whatever. They're just being braver, and they're using that as a piece of art. I have more clients who are looking for, as I would talk about, a dirty kitchen, more so than a pantry. So it's almost like a second kitchen if they're lucky enough to have a space where they have a pantry, they put a sink in it and a dishwasher, and they do all their food prep there. And their kitchen may stay tidier or cleaner, but it's... And again, in those dirty kitchens, people are being braver with their colour. They're going for more muted tones, darker tones, braver tones, reds, burgundies, just something a bit different. Although it's all right being on trend. It's another thing living with something that's in trend at the minute. So probably whenever you look at my Instagram, you know, most of my clients would be more neutral in their colour schemes, and it's not that they're not brave, but you have to live with this for a long time. You know, you're not talking a kitchen that you put in and you rip it out in 5 years' time. Like, this is something that's going to do you for a long time.
Finally, looking back on this project, what do you feel was the most rewarding part of the design?
When you see your clients using the space, when you see every little bit of space. For instance, the living area where we have the secret storage either side of the chimney breast, and the house looks really, really tidy. And then you open up that cupboard and you see all the toys crammed in there. Yeah. It's just, you get a buzz out of it. You see the kids sitting on top of the worktop, colouring in, painting. You go up the stairs and they're running along the landing, they're kicking a football. You know, they're just using the space.
Enjoying it.
Enjoying it, yeah. That's the biggest
buzz. Your job is done then?
Like, my job, I always maintain it's not like a job, it's a hobby. And it's just seeing it through from the start to the finish. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for coming on our podcast today.
Thank you for
inviting us into that beautiful Denadry home. We love it, and we wish you all the best. Happy New Year, Aaron.
Happy New Year.